I don't know how to do one of these intros. But my name is Hannah. Thank you so much for joining me on my show. I am your host, Hannah, and I'm super excited for episode numero uno. And this episode is very dear and near to my heart because I invited my best friend, Kasenia Keller, to join in on and bring in some inspiration to you all. This girl, I am telling you, you're not going to want to miss this first episode because she has been through it all. She has been through a divorce family. She's been through daddy issues. She's been through not feeling accepted. She has been through a mentally and physically abusive relationship. You guys are going to be inspired by her story. And I'm super excited. Here we go. Oh, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow me on my Instagram page and my Facebook page. I'm super excited. Be part of the conversation, be loved, and be inspired. Well, Kasenia Keller.
Hannah!
I'm so excited right now because, not only you're my best friend, but this is my first show that I am doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, I kind of spoke upon it during my intro to these shows that I want women to be inspired.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage women, encouraging other women. So, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I feel so honored to be on this show first, so thank you.
Okay, Kasenia. So, you heard me right. It's Kasenia. So, earlier today, we actually went to a restaurant, and the guy goes, "Is this your name?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Interesting.
He said, "Interesting." So, okay, so it's pronounced Kasenia. You've gotten Kasania.
Many other
versions. It's pretty hilarious. Tell me the history of your interesting name.
So, growing up, my mom always wanted to name her first daughter after her grandma, and it's Ukrainian, and so she knew that was going to be my name from when she was a little girl, and here I am. So, Ukrainian, and no one knows how to say it right or spell it right, and that's okay.
Okay, so this is Kasenia.
Yep.
Okay, Kasenia, tell me, from day one, from the moment you were born. No, just tell me so many memories. I've known you for how many years? I don't even know.
Since seventh grade.
Seventh grade.
Middle school.
13 years old.
The most awkward season of life. We've been together through it all.
Through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, to be quite transparent right now, you've had a go in your life. And during this, I don't cry because she is an inspirational woman that will bring hope and encouragement to someone who might have a similar story like you do. So, when I first met you, what were you going through?
Yeah. So you know this, but Hannah came into my life when my parents were going through a divorce. It was one of the hardest times of my life. I have 3 little sisters, and my mom was basically raising us on her own, and it was a really trying time in many ways. And you came in and were that friend to me that was steady, and you gave me that support that I needed, especially in those awkward preteen years. So, but yeah, that's what was going on at the time.
I didn't realize at that time when I met you. I knew what a divorce meant because a lot of kids in our grade. Hi, cat. Cat.
The smelliest kitten.
Stop it. I'm gonna put her down. So I knew she was gonna make an appearance. Her name is Posy Rose. Okay, anyways, so growing up, a lot of kids were going through divorces.
Yeah.
So seeing you go through a divorce, I honestly didn't realize the impact that it was having on you because my parents were not going through that.
Right.
My parents are still together. So you grew up with just your mom and your 3 sisters. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your dad and how did that affect you from middle school, high school, college up to now?
Yeah. So I hate cliches, and I hate those ideas that you hear and people sharing their stories of their past, and you hear these terms thrown around daddy issues, and it's never fun to align yourself with an idea like that. however, looking back, I know that like there are so many things that I've dealt with in my life that are like rooted in that time and like the struggle it was to have that kind of like separation in your family.
Yeah.
And because I was the oldest of 4 girls, I had to really like step up, like take extra responsibility, and really just like have to help raise my sisters, and one of my sisters had a health problem, and it was just like really hard. And so as I see my life after that, there's so many times in which I feel like it's been so hard to trust men. It impacted my ability to just like trust people, and then, you know, impacted me in relationships as well. And something I really learned was that, like, you know, my identity and my hope has to be rooted in something deeper than the people in my life. And whether that's friendships, romantic relationships, whatever it is, like, my identity couldn't be found in somebody else, because ultimately, like, we're humans and we're going to fail each other. And you know, like, when you are impacted by those people, like, whether they intend to hurt you or not, like, they're flawed too, and like they have things that lead them to being that way. And so yeah, I've learned a lot about like who I am, and my ability to trust other people, and also like where my hope needs to be found. So
your mom gets divorced, you're 13 years old. That's a critical time
11.
for 11.
Yep.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a critical time because you're developing as a young woman. You know, a girl needs her dad. Okay. And you grow up with your mom, your 3 sisters. You're essentially almost a second mom to your sisters.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, we go into high school. There might be some, I don't know, confidence, you know, issues.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Go into a little bit about having a lack of confidence, maybe. I don't know, because I know us girls, we overthink.
Yeah.
Yep. We overthink.
Yeah.
And
no matter how confident you are.
No matter if there's a girl that I said she's the most confident girl in the world, I don't even care. Like, I have a confidence, but I still get insecure.
Yeah.
I still overthink. So talk to me about, like, not having a dad. You're basically raising your own sisters.
Yeah.
And you want to be liked.
Yeah. So it's funny because when you're growing up and you're, you know, surrounded by other people, of course there's going to be people you look up to, there's going to be people that you want to be like, and then you have, like, the people that are surrounding you, and we always hear, like, the people around you are the ones that impact you. But yeah, I know that, like, in having someone so significant leave your life, and granted, like, he was still a part of it in some capacity, but not in the normal way, I really, like, you know, I, like, questioned, like, my worth, and I think that, like, when you're young and in school, it's going to be something that you deal with no matter what.
Right.
And so I can remember moments when I would, like, feel like I had to, like, dress a certain way and, like, have all the name brand clothes, and we know, like, Abercrombie and Hollister,
like, right across your chest.
Yeah. So
bad.
I can, like, remember back to those things, and then, you know, going into the end of high school, like, we had our core group of friends, and so that, like, gave us stability. And then you go into college, and it's like, okay, you have to start all over again, which was, like, in a way freeing, but also like really dangerous, because, like, if you're not careful, the people that you surround yourself with will impact who you are and what decisions you make. And I definitely saw that becoming, like, an issue for me. And then, you know, that those decisions impact your confidence too, because if you are allowing those people to speak into you too much, and you're allowing them to impact your decisions too much, then, like, that totally messes with your identity and, like, who you believe you are and who you become. So yeah.
So obviously, you know, I know you really well today, and, like, the growth that you've had, and some of your, I don't know, the good word for it, maybe dark days.
Yeah.
Was in college. You know, the story of you have a little bit of a lack of confidence, not a lot of male attention, and all of a sudden you go to college, a little bit more independence.
Yeah.
What up, cute boy in class?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start falling in love with someone for the first time. And all the morals and values that you have placed for yourself that I remember talking to you being a little girl about.
even when we were young,
goes out the door.
Yeah.
And I will even attest to that. Your morals and what you want, like, goes out the door just because you want a little bit of attention. And if I'm honest, that's just the reality with so many women.
Yeah, for sure.
So go into, I guess,
Yeah.
your first love and how it affected you.
Yeah. So obviously we just talked about it, but my identity did not have like a steady source, and because of that, like, although I had my beliefs, I had what I thought I was supposed to do, what was right and wrong, it was hard for me to hang on to those things because it wasn't like this deep assurance in who I was. It was like, okay, I think that these are the things that I should do, and so I'm going to do those to the best of my ability. Man, it's like, it like, to this day, it's so hard because like years can go by and you can really like experience growth through something, but then like when you talk about it again or like you see something that like reminds you of that time, it's so hard to like bring that back up. So so it's hard to think about, but I basically from my second semester of college to my last semester of college, I dated someone, and every person has their pros and their cons, but I saw past all the cons time and time again, and I allowed myself to just be, treated less than how I feel I deserve to be treated, and it also impacted me in the way that I treated that person, and the way that I, allowed, myself to interact in groups and whatnot. And so, I sort of lost sight of who I was, and it was really hard because my school was small. I mean, maybe maybe some people who end up watching this will like definitely remember back to who I was when that took place, and that sucks. And it's hard to look back and know like I was a completely different person. But it's also incredible to look back and know that, because that means that like I've been able to learn from that time, and to like gain more of a sense of like who I am, and the fact that I can walk through those things and like come out of it stronger rather than allowing that to like negatively impact me moving forward. And I learned a lot about, like what I will and won't put up with, and so many other things. But
so someone's watching this right now and they have made the decision to go against everything that they've believed in, are going against maybe some of their friends and family are telling them, and they're just honestly in an abusive relationship. What do you say to that girl that's like, I don't care, like, I love him, he treats me right, and this, and this, you don't know him like I do, but then at the end of the day, there's like this sadness.
So I guess what I would say is ultimately, like, you have to decide for yourself that you are worthy of love, you are worthy of care, you're worthy of that affection, but ultimately, like, if that is coming from a place that is also hurting you and also causing you to go against what you believe and causing you to reject friends and not listen to the people in your life that are telling you this isn't a good thing, then you, like, as hard as it is, you have to realize, like, there's more hope ahead, and that you, like, you don't have to settle for that, and that, like, yes, there is going to be a time that you have to walk through of feeling possibly depressed, feeling like maybe you're never going to find someone, feeling like maybe you, like, screwed up to the point where you can't, like, undo what's been done. But that's not true, because I know personally that, like, oh man, everything I walked through, like, it didn't shape my future to the point of not being able to, like, grow from those things. So basically what I would say is there's hope, and you're worth so much more than what you're going through, and you don't deserve that. Like, no matter who you become, like, there are times when I look back and I hate the way that I, treated that person. I hate the way that I treated the people around me. Like, I hate the decisions I made, and I don't fault that person for, the entirety of what happened, but I know that, like, so anyways, like, no matter how you feel like you've behaved, no matter who you think you've become, like, you don't deserve how you're being treated if you're in that type of abusive relationship.
Absolutely not. And when you discover, you have like almost a revelation of the worth that you have, it's a weight that's lifted off of you.
Yeah.
One of my biggest struggles, honestly, is I, messed up in the past. How can I ever be worthy for somebody else? Or how can I, like, where's the hope? Because, like, you and I are very single. I will just point that out. Sorry. But we have been.
Yes, that's the truth. That's the truth.
And it really is frustrating. So if you're single out there, like, we are with you on this. It's frustrating seeing everyone getting married, everyone having kids right now, you feeling like you are doing the right things and trying to be obedient to your morals or standards or your faith, and yet you still hit this rock wall and nothing is happening.
Yeah.
What do you do in the desert seasons, man? That's what I'm struggling with right now.
Yeah. I think that, like, and we've talked about this before, but, like, in every season we go through, I feel like there's both, like, things that we can learn from and grow from, and there's also blessings in the midst of, like, the season of life we're in.
Absolutely.
And I think there's definitely times when it's harder to identify those things. Like, there's definitely times when you are like, oh my gosh, like, what could possibly be good about what I'm walking through right now? Yeah. But, like, in those desert seasons, like, we have to be thankful for what we have, because there will come a day, as we pray for, that, like, we will be married and we will have someone that we're, like, committed to and that we're going to walk through life with. And then, once we get to that point, like, there isn't going to be those times anymore where we're like, well, it's Friday night and I have nothing to do. Like, I'm just going to, like, sit here and do nothing. Like, we're going to have somebody else to go through that with. Yeah. And so I think, like, we have to be grateful for those moments, like, those quiet moments where we can just relax, and, like, the days when we can do whatever we want to do. And yeah, just, like, find things to be thankful for.
I love doing whatever I want.
Right.
No, really, though.
Like, as much as, like, it can be frustrating to see people in a relationship, it's also, like, okay, singleness is actually really awesome if you let yourself appreciate it.
Yes.
Like, really awesome.
It's so encouraging to me. Like, I'm inspired by you. And I believe that you're going to be able to inspire so many other women with your story, going from someone who's with a divorced family, a little bit of daddy issues, all the ups and downs of an abusive and mentally and physically abusive relationship, to the woman that you're at right now. Like, you are radiant, Kasenia. And
I just love you.
I love you.
I love her.
So your message right now to our friends that are watching, what's your message that you really want to come across with hope?
Yeah. Ultimately, like, I just believe that in any season that we can have hope. In the stories that I've mentioned, in stories I haven't mentioned, like, I've always found reason to have hope, and I've always been given, things to be thankful for. No matter, like, what I've lacked, there's always something that we can be appreciating. And, and I think that we just, like, have the ability to have hope in any circumstance. And, like, with the faith that I have, I believe that, like, God's been with me through every step, whether I felt him there or not. And so and that's what gives me hope. And, whether or not that's, like, someone else watching, like, we have the ability to have hope. And, and my prayer would be that, like, anyone watching this that resonates with anything that I've shared, like, would feel loved and would feel cared for and would feel like, there's better things ahead for you. And there's also good things happening in your life right now, whether you see them or not. So.
That was so good. Hope. Kasenia Keller. Kasenia. Not Kasenia. Sorry. That's so funny when we go out and cat. Or cat. I call her Kitty Cat. That's only me, though.
Yes.
I'm only allowed to call you that. Well, thank you so much, Kasenia. You are my best friend, and you inspire me every single day in your journey, and it's not yet over. And if you want her number, leave us a comment. We'll see our eligible bachelors.
Or if you're a girl and you just want some advice or want someone to talk to.
Yes. Comment below. Tell me. We are your friend. Thank you so much for joining with us today on this episode with Kasenia Keller on hope. We hope you are encouraged, and always be inspired.